Welcome to the Football Breakdown. It's a brand new year, but the same old pod. It's the Fantasy EFL Gameweek 22 preview. I'm Matthew South.
And I'm Ian Cooper.
Yes, welcome everyone to 2025. Fresh off the back of a bumper triple game week as well. Ian, how are you doing and how did you get on last week?
Yeah, doing all good, thank you. That's certainly doing better than what I did last week. I really annoyed myself actually. I ended up on 145 points. Doesn't sound too bad. It could have been so much better. I had a lot of players rotated, as we expected, but I was trying to avoid those players. So say players like Daniel Happ missed the second game. Sadly, Charlton didn't play their third game because it was called off for a waterlogged pitch at Crawley. So I missed out on potential points there. So I nearly got a clean sweep with Charlton winning all three games, but sadly not to be. And then we come to my worst pick I think I've ever had this year. We discussed it on the way to the pub at Boxing Day. I saw that Bio wasn't starting in the Watford game. And I've said to you, I'm going to put in Cullen, who went and scored, I believe, about 20 points in the game week. And then I said, actually, no, let's go for Nathan Lowe. I think he was going to play the 3 games before getting recalled. Really happy with him. No, I bottled it and I kept Bayo in because I thought, you know what, he can still come on this game. He's got 2 more games to prove anything to me. Didn't score at all and got me 4 points in a triple game week.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I just remember being we're obviously at the pub watching the football and notifications coming up that Cullen had scored twice early on, and our conversation was like, well, Cullen might get a goal and assist, but maybe he won't score twice in a game, and he did that within about 20 minutes. Yeah. And then Nathan Lowe grabbed a couple of doubles, was the top scoring forward of the week. I think with Lowe, we had no issues with Lowe himself. We just thought it was a triple. It was a tough triple for Walsall, and they've come through it absolutely brilliantly, and they've won all 3. And Lowe got 4 or 5 goals in that run. It's not that we didn't want to suggest, we literally spoke about him there and then. We wanted to pick him. We just preferred other players at the time, and then obviously he just comes in and does what he's been doing all season, which was annoying for you as annoying for me as well, because definitely someone we'd floated around in our heads as well. I had Jay Stansfield and Cole Stockton instead. Stansfield scored in the first game, which was fine, but didn't really offer anything else for the other 2. And then Cole Stockton did nothing until the last game, and then finally goal and assist. And I was like, okay, at least that's come in. But then for myself, then away from that, it was a pretty solid week. 192 points, the top scorer in our league, which was good, a promising week, but still quite off of it in terms of the global rankings. I think the top scorer was like 240 points, so still trailing behind there. But Salford and Leyton Orient, 3 straight wins for both of them, so that boosted my score massively. Lewis Wing top scoring, Lewis Wing was a late change for me. He was someone who we had written down, I think, before the pod, but didn't actually talk about. And then when I was finalising my team, I made that one change for him, and he managed to pick up the points. Rodoni with a solid 16 as well, but it was his teammate Josh Eccles who shined that week, and he was nearing the 30-point range. So, frustrating enough to have to watch Rodoni almost, or Eccles scoring the goals that we thought Rodoni was going to score. So, frustrating one, but
good prediction, just not how it quite fell in our heads.
Yeah, it was like, the midfielder's going to be on the edge of the box scoring goals, and we thought it'd be Rodoni, and instead it was Eccles, and it was, I didn't see that one coming. So fair play to him. But then, you had like players like Dimitri Keeley, for myself, picked up good points as expected. So yeah, not too many complaints on my front. Just no I was just missing that standout shining player like Finn Azaz in game 1. We were worried about their fixture list. Well, he made up for it in game 1 alone and did nothing for the other 2 games. And it's there, I was missing that kind of big point scorer in my team to kind of take me into that 200 range. But can't really complain too much.
No, same for me, really. Everyone, when I look at their total points, they probably, if you added up their average points per game week, they probably got what they expected after 3 games. Just didn't have anyone to really explode. And like I say, one player just really disappointed, just nowhere near it today.
No, no, exactly. Well, shall we get into this week then? It's a standard week. There are extra games this week. So there's 2 games tonight on Thursday, which is Newport, Wimbledon, and uh, Gillingham, Bromley. Yeah, I forgot the
Yeah.
other one for a minute there. I'm just going to read you that. Yeah, so there are 2 games tonight on Thursday, which are Newport, Wimbledon, and Gillingham, Bromley. They are, I guess, extra games that have fallen out of the past week, just gone, so they're falling into this game week. And then we do have a rearranged game next Tuesday, which is Wickham versus Huddersfield. So couple of extras, couple of doubles to watch out for. Probably to keep in mind when we're doing our prediction, while we're talking about our players and our picks, we do have that in the back of our minds. Well, nothing more really to say other than to get into it. So I'll kick us off with the Championship goalkeeper this week. And I think I'm just going to take the low-hanging fruit here. I'm going to take Victor Johansson at home for Stoke City against Plymouth Argyle, taking a goalkeeper who's got back-to-back clean sheets against a side who have scored 3 away goals all season. It just seems like the thing that makes the most sense. Stoke are going to come in with Mark Robbins' first game. Argyle are going to have Kevin Nanskaville and Joe Edwards in charge for interim games. And when they've been in charge previously away from home, it's not like they've stopped the goals from shipping. Obviously, this is Edwards' first time in charge, but Nanskaville's taken interim charge a couple of times before, and certainly the away goals haven't suddenly stopped going in. So I don't see that happening here either, unfortunately. And I don't think there's going to be a new Argyle manager in charge before Saturday by the sounds of things. So I think that Johansson makes a bit of sense, like 75% save rate, 4.9 point average. His XG plus minus in goal is 12.5, which is just ridiculous. So yeah, I think Johansson's the one for me.
Yeah, I can see why. Like, I wouldn't be backing any other Stoke player for this game, even though I wouldn't be going for a defender, let's say.
No, I wouldn't either. But I think as well with the keepers with a limited point range, I was looking at Championship games and there's quite a few, tough fixtures to navigate. So it's like, this is the one where I'd be the most confident to suggest someone's going to go and keep a clean sheet. Away from that, maybe Paul Nardi for QPR against Luton, but the QPR clean sheets have disappeared recently as well.
Yes.
I do wonder as well, with it being Robin's first game, expecting a more structured performance here from Stoke, just like we've seen it away to Burnley and at home to Sunderland, which is what is leaning me towards Johansson certainly in this game.
Yeah, and with it being Mark Robbins' first game, the one player that you're 100% confident he is going to pick is going to be the keeper Johansson. He could tinker around with any of the other players out on the pitch, but their best performer's been their goalkeeper, and he's obviously going to play him.
Exactly.
So I'll kick us off I'll move us on along, with the defender pick for the Championship. Now, Matt, this might be the only time we actually talk about this player, because he is selected by 22% of people. But I know the majority of these people don't play the fantasy game anymore, because he's been gradually coming back from injury, and it's Ethan Ampadu for Leeds, who has been part of Leeds' midfield but counts as a defender, so I'm happy to benefit from the blocks and tackles and obviously the clean sheet bonus. Since coming back from the bench, he's been starting on the bench at the start of December, and he has played the full 90 minutes 3 out of his last 4 games against Oxford, Stoke and Derby, keeping clean sheets in all of those games. Ampadu was benched on New Year's Day, but I believe that was just to sort of save minutes and save his legs. He did come on for an injured Jayden Bogle, who was also an option for this game, but I don't really know about his selection and if he's going to be available for the game. And even as in his 13 games, he's kept 7 clean sheets, but also in the 5 games where they didn't keep the clean sheet, they only conceded 1 goal each time as well. They play Hull City away from home, who I have to be honest, I'm actually really concerned about. I don't know about you, but it's going to take time for Sellers to implement any changes into this side. But they are a real big underperformer when it comes to XG. Their XG this season is 29.3, but they've only scored 22 goals. And I really wouldn't put this down to like a lack of luck, especially with the issues with their injury concerns. I think they actually just have a really poor attacking force when it comes to finishing. And when you put Ampadu in front of Italy's defence, I think it's just going to be the same story here as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I do kind of echo the whole thoughts. You know, they had that game against Middlesbrough the other night or on New Year's Day where they lost 1-0, late Middlesbrough goal. Hull didn't really provide much going forward, and Leeds aren't the type of team that are going to give you those opportunities anyway. So listen, if Middlesbrough are keeping you quiet, Leeds are probably going to go and keep you quiet as well. I think Sellers has made them look a little bit more solid defensively, which I was a bit surprised. You know, I thought maybe we'd see something a bit more free flowing from them, but I feel like it's almost, you know, it's a learning curve for him as well, this job. So we've seen them look a little bit more compact, a little more solid, but I honestly, I don't. Yeah, I don't really like a lot of their squad. I think this is a big window for them. I think their attacking options are quite poor. So yeah, getting against Hull is definitely a good idea in my books right now. And Ampadu, you know, one of the best players in the league when he's fully fit and firing. Definitely gonna see him in more people's teams, I reckon, going forward. I'll take us into the midfield then, and I'm going to talk about Anis Mehmeti from Bristol City. 0.3% selection, 5.2 point average. Now, a few people have been listening to the show, I guess, for a while. I've suggested a few Bristol City midfielders before, and most of the time they come good. And Mehmeti's just the next one on the list, and he's someone that I've definitely floated the idea about before. Certainly when they played Plymouth Argyle, I went for Scott Twine, thinking Twine might come in for Mehmeti. Instead, they both played, and Mehmeti played in that left wing role that I really wanted Twine to play in that day to hurt Argyle. Mehmeti scored twice from that position, and yeah, he's just been brilliant this season. 9 goals, just the 1 assist, but it's his attacking outfit I'm looking up here. He's going to be playing off of Wells on the left. 27 key passes, 26 shots on target. An XG is 7.34, so he's exceeding his XG, but it's not massively overweighted. You know, he's just a good finisher, and he will get chances. His 1 assist actually comes with an expected assist total of 3.33, so people aren't finishing the chances he's creating for them whilst he's finishing better than the chances that people are creating for him. So maybe some other players could give us a hand here and put away one of the chances he creates. But yeah, someone who takes 3.5 shots per 90 with 1.5 on target, you know, 0.5 goals per 90. They are playing a Derby side who have lost 3 of their last 4 and conceded 8 goals in the process. They've lost 8 of their 13 away games all season, conceding 23. And having a look at their recent lineup and their defensive injuries, it's probably going to be a 5-back because it's away from home. And that's what Paul Warne likes to do. So Mehmeti is probably, well, their right wing back will be Kane Wilson, not really known for his defensive work, and their right centre back was Nat Phillips. Listen, if Mehmeti is up against Phillips, it could be a field day for Bristol City, and certainly they're going to push up and try to get that as a battle going on. And yeah, I think Mehmeti could really thrive in this game.
Yeah, that's just screaming a lot of 1v1s. Mehmeti loves to cut inside. He operates in that space, doesn't he? Just inside the left-hand side of the box. Gets so many shots off. He doesn't really need too many touches to even find space. So Nat Phillips is going to have a really, really busy day. When you look at his underlying metrics, as you were saying, he's in the top 3% for attacking players in the Championship. His output is ridiculous. He's having a great season.
Yeah, he's really key to them, especially he grabbed the goal away the other day, but he's scored 4 goals in their last 4 home games, but it's come in the space of 2 doubles. So he scored twice against Portsmouth and twice against Argyle, twice against someone else. You know, he is that player who can get high scores, which is another good thing we're kind of looking for here at home. He's definitely thriving for Bristol City. They've won 3 of their last 4 at home. They're the only teams they haven't beaten at home are Burnley and I think it was Sunderland, or the only team they've lost to at home. You know, they've had a few draws in the process, but they're kind of beating the teams you'd think they would beat. And this is certainly a game where if their aspirations are higher than mid-table, they should be winning.
No, I like the pick, and I'm going to take us into the forward picks for the championship. Now, you might feel that my defender pick was a slightly too obvious, so I'll satisfy the people that like when I go a bit left field, and I've selected somebody who's 0% and I think he's really fun. I've gone for the Jedi Gassama for Sheffield Wednesday. Now, he's played genuinely in so many different roles this season. He's played left wing, he's been playing in the number 10 spot, and recently he played at right wing back. But for his output, he has recorded a goal and assist in 4 of his last 5 games, irregardless of where he has played and been fielded in the lineup. He's an explosive direct dribbler, averaging just under 1 key passes per 90 as well. They play Millwall, who have just appointed Alex Neil, which I feel is going to be a fairly different style to the trusted Neil Harris. I don't think they're so defensively solid, and the outright focus for Neil is actually just going to be more how they can progress up the pitch and on the ball. You can see that the defensive importance has been slightly forgotten about since Harris has left. They have been starting to leak a few goals into this Millwall team. And on the other side, Sheffield Wednesday are involved in some real back and forth games lately, scoring 2 or more goals in 4 of their last 5 games.
Well, Wednesday, they certainly have been scoring some goals at home recently. You know, that 4-2 win against Derby the other day, 2-0 win against Stoke. A few single goal games here, 2-0 win against Norwich. Like they've certainly picked their results up in general, and they're looking further up the table. This is a game that they'll fancy themselves with. Gassama is certainly someone who will get involved in that attack, and they don't really have a natural goal scorer. No one's, as far as I'm aware, really leading the lines for them in terms of being a clear-cut goal scoring output for them. They're kind of sharing the goals around. You got Windass, Smith, Ugbo as well, all have chipped in with a couple here and there. So Gassama's the same. He's one of the ones who's adding to that, and with that, it's almost like chances will keep coming his way. It's not like like a Norwich where Sainz is grabbing a lot of the goals, or Stockport where Barry is grabbing a lot of the goals. They're picking someone who isn't the main outlet. Well, there isn't really one for Wednesday, so Gassama definitely has that going for him in this side.
Oh yeah, if you're looking at the scoring record just in general, you would favour Windass. Sorry, he's got 10 goals in the league this season. But I've just picked a player that it doesn't really affect if he starts or where he plays. He's still going to have an impact to this game. And just for the forward picks, I just wanted to get a bit more creative. It's so easy to go look at the last game week, who scored the most goals, pick someone like that. I just wanted someone that I didn't feel like I'm ever really going to talk about again. And if I do, a lot of people will know about him because he's going on a real big run if we bring him up again.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with the fixtures as well, like there's not too many other players you necessarily want to look at this week. I like the pick. I like the suggestion.
And now moving into League One, I'll start us off with the goalkeeper pick. And sadly, or fortunately, however you feel on the topic, I am going to pick a keeper who happens to be playing twice in this game week, especially when both games have been played at home. So I've opted for Franco Ravazzoli. I'll keep the facts fairly brief, as I think the thing is pretty clear here. Franco has 8 clean sheets in 21 games. So I'm going to do a bit of maths here. To my maths, that is 38%. So just over 2 games, especially at home, you fancy the chance of one of those games providing a clean sheet to come. And then you've also got the second game where you can gamble on if there's going to be another clean sheet or just get bonus points for saves. So I think it's certainly worth going for a keeper that has a double game week. The games are tough, with the first one being Blackpool, and then, like you said, the rescheduled game against Huddersfield. Blackpool and Huddersfield are in the top 10 for goals scored per 90 in the league. So short, not the friendliest of fixtures, but Wickham are strong at limiting chances of placed 5th best in XG conceded. So I just think the gamble, even though it's not good fixtures, just having 2 chances of picking up points for your keeper is worth just as much as going for one keeper in one game.
Yeah, I think on the Wickham point as well, I was having a look at their fixtures, or their results, sorry. They've at home this season, they've only lost 1, and they've only dropped points to 2nd, 5th, and 10th, I believe it is. So Birmingham, Reading, and Bolton at home. They've beaten everyone else, and it's good. Like Huddersfield are a tough one, but certainly Blackpool falling into the bottom half, that's a game you think they would win. Huddersfield, listen, if their games are going to be tough, but if their promotion credentials are legitimate, these are the games they're going to have to go and win. So no, I do like it because similarly, how you want to see this pick, my defensive pick is coming from Wickham as well. But
Yeah.
I'm actually taking Luke Leahy instead, and he's at 0.3% selection and a 4.6 average. But listen, Leahy's actually playing in midfield. He's one of the centre mid options for Wickham, and Wickham do see quite a bit of rotation. But Lee's now made 10 starts. He's been starting quite a lot recently. And if you his 4.6 point average comes with a lot of off the bench appearances, not too much impact when late on the single point returns. If you actually look at those 10 starts, it's a 67 point return, so a 6.7 point average. That includes a game where he got -2 points for missing a penalty, and another game where he got 0 points where they conceded a goal. So if you want to remove those two games, it's up to 69 points in 8 games, which is 8.6. So yeah, like that's certainly good. Like I said, he's playing in midfield. Uh, Aaron Morley's recall means he's the one who's probably guaranteed to start in midfield now with options to come in and play alongside him. So with it being a double game week, I'm actually not worried about the rotation on this front because I don't think they can afford to drop him. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists this season, 1.6 shots per 90, 1.5 chances created, 1.3 successful crosses. But this is all when he counts as a defender, so he's going to pick up those defensive points too, which is great. If they can get a clean sheet or two here, we're going to reap the rewards of that. He's a set piece taker. His left foot's brilliant. He was on penalties earlier this season. Kone's missed the penalty. Morley took their last penalty, but he's now been recalled. Lee might find himself back on penalties, which will just going to boost us even more. So I'm definitely happy to get with him this week. Listen, the concerns maybe over Wickham in general could be that obviously Morley being recalled. This morning Caleb Taylor was recalled. They've just lost 2 key players, but they've used their squad really, really well this season, and I think they're going to be able to come through these next 2 games just fine.
Yeah, with Leahy, look, there's nothing really much more to add there. As usual, you've covered off everything, and it's a really smart pick. It'll be interesting, like you say, who he's going to partner in that midfield too when he does get in the team. But at least he's a consistent performer, so it shouldn't matter too much who he's paired with. It's not like they have really bad players to slot into this team. They're very well adapted.
Exactly, yeah. They've used the rotation throughout the season brilliantly, so I'm not too worried on whoever's pairing him. So I think he'll be okay.
And moving into another midfielder, shall we say. I'm going back to Barnsley for my midfield pick. I've selected 2 Barnsley players before, and they've both let me down. But that was when they played in midfield, and this person plays up front, and that is Davis Keeler-Dunn. Last season for Mansfield, I'd say he's one of the best long shot takers in the EFL. And this season, with Barnsley, he's really hitting his stride. Davis earns his points on the EFL Fantasy from goals, and he's scored in his last 3. He averages just under 2.5 shots per 90, creates 0.8 chances per 90. And look, if you want a little bonus, he's also racked up 6 interceptions this season whilst playing up front. So just a nice avenue to go down there. Barnsley play Crawley at home, and Crawley have shipped goals. From the FA Cup against Lincoln at the end of November, Crawley have conceded 3 or more in 4 of the games. So for a high shot taker who's found the net 8 times this season, I'd be really happy to add Keeler-Dunn to my team.
Yeah, I really like Keeler-Dunn. He was in my team for one of the first game weeks of the season, but that was when he was playing for Mansfield, and I've kind of been waiting for him to hit this stride to be able to add him back into my team at some point. And to be fair, I've completely not forgotten about him, but pushed him to the side for a bit. So it's good that he's getting mentioned on this podcast because he is, like you say, one of the best goal scoring midfielders out there in the Football League. Just a brilliant player. And then I'll take us into the striker pick or the forward pick. And with it being a double game week, it's kind of hard to avoid those sides. Well, Huddersfield and Wickham. And we've spoken about Coney quite a lot. And he is still being, I guess, affected by rotation. So whilst I think he's a solid pick, because we've spoken about him a lot and because the rotation issue is there, I'm actually going to talk about Callum Marshall from Huddersfield, their opponents. And listen, kind of contradicting ourselves here by picking a striker when we've talked about their opponents, goalkeeper and defence. But listen, they've got another game against Rotherham. This is a solid chance for him to pick up some good points. He's only 0.1% selected, but he's kind of come into his own a bit up front for Huddersfield. He's 3.8 point average on the season with 6 goals and 2 assists in 21 games. But he has like come off the bench quite a lot. And in fact, it's only until recently, like he started his last 3 games. He got 2 goals and assists versus Cambridge, and that was just 3 games ago. 2.78 shots per 90, 1.32 on target, 0.44 goals per 90 is a really good return per minute ratio for a striker. And he's also got a creative side of him, 1.54 chances created. Rotherham, stubborn team, Wycombe, tough opponents, but double game week, I don't see Huddersfield blanking twice. And again, not a team that have like a leading goal scorer. So Marshall, him being the youngest of their attacking options, it's probably up to him now to step up. Ladapo came on recently and came back off in the same game. The Radulovic has not really featured too much. Karoma's gone off the boil, so there's really a chance here for Marshall to shine in the next few weeks and make sure that he is the first striker on that team sheet. He will get chances to score goals here. So I'm going to back here that he does.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate that. Really, they have maybe not the top quality in their forward department, but they certainly have a lot of depth. And you look at their last 3 games over the Christmas period, he didn't get rotated once. He didn't get subbed off. It was always the partner or the other attacking players that were substituted, but he is the mainstay. So they're clearly very sure of the fact that he is their goal threat, and they're very happy with him play. So yeah, really good pick there. Even though, like we said, not contradicting the Wycombe picks, but you can certainly both win from this pick if you pick both.
Exactly. Also, depending on how you want to twist it, like their game against Wigan was postponed. They're going to be a bit fresher coming into another busy period of fixtures for them. Like they're playing Saturday, Tuesday, so yeah, they might be fresher than Rotherham when they play Rotherham. Wycombe would have played a lot of games by the time they go and play Wycombe in the last few weeks. Like maybe there is a way to get on Huddersfield's side here as well. Certainly, I know I've seen before, there was a single double game week once and someone just picked both teams even though they were playing each other, and I think it worked out for them. So like, but there's certainly weirder things you can do, and I feel like picking players against each other isn't the worst thing because there's other ways to get points. We don't need the clean sheets for our defenders. We don't necessarily so they can concede a goal and we can still win. So listen, Marshall's definitely worth consideration, I think, this week. Now, heading into League Two for the last few picks, I'm going to start us off with the goalkeeper, and I'm going for Owen Goodman for Wimbledon's double game week. He's 0.3% selected right now, 4.5 point average. It's a double away fixture for Wimbledon this week as they travel to Newport tonight before travelling to Fleetwood on Sunday. But they're a pretty solid defensive side. Goodman's managed to keep 10 clean sheets in 22 games. He's made 44 saves in that time. So, averaging 2 saves a game for that extra bonus point. He's off the back of 9 points versus Gillingham, where he made 3 saves in that game, and he's got 2 clean sheets in his last 3 away games. So certainly some solid stuff to go off of here for Wimbledon. In fact, Wimbledon themselves have won every away game against bottom half sides. They've played 4 teams in the bottom half away from home, 1-4. They've played 12 games in total against the bottom half sides, won 9, drawn 3. So listen, their 2 opponents are in the bottom half. These are games that they've been winning. These are games they've been performing well in. And these are the games that they're going to keep clean sheets in away from home. So I'm backing Woodman to pick up a clean sheet or 2. Listen, Newport have just scored 6 goals against MK Dons. It could be worrying for some, but that's an MK Dons side that just plays such different football to this Wimbledon side. Wimbledon will not allow Newport to have those opportunities, and you'd back, a young keeper in Goodman to kind of be able to make some of those saves. His 71% save percentage is pretty decent for League Two and certainly for a young goalkeeper. So I'm happy to take him for the double.
Yeah, I can see the logic there. It's the same sort of logic, if I might say, as the same as my League One pick. It's just who has a pretty good record in front of a very good defence. You have 2 favourable games. You fancy them to get one clean sheet out of the two. They get more than that, but it's even more. It's more of a bonus. But why would you go pick a goalkeeper that only has one game when you can sort of like insure yourself with another game in case that first one doesn't come off? That's just where I see the logic there for the goalkeeper.
Exactly, like goalkeeper points are pretty limited, you know, unless someone's going to rack off like 10, 15 saves in a game, you're kind of tied into the the 2 points for playing, the 5 points for the clean sheet, and then a couple bonus points if they make some saves. So in one game, you rarely see keepers get more than what 8, 9, 10 points.
I better say, nine's
Yeah,
in my head.
yeah. I think maybe Johansson's probably one of the keepers who's pulled out a load of points in the game before, but just purely because of how many saves he has to make. But even then, I'm having a quick look through, and 11 points is the highest I can see that he's ever returned. So you're limited as a goalkeeper. So playing twice just means two chances to double that ceiling of points you can get, which is why I think in these double game weeks we usually end up suggesting a goalkeeper in that is playing twice. The outfielders, you can maybe be a bit more creative, but in goal, and listen, like, take nothing away from Goodman, young lad in goal, 10 clean sheets this season, good return.
No, perfect. And I'll move us into the defence for League Two. And my defender, I'm very confident Matt will know how this player's been performing and scoring lately in EFL Fantasy. And I feel like a lot of people are going to know about him, but I just want to talk about him just in case he evades anyone going into this game week, because trust me, you need him in your team. Now, this player is Omar Shawumni. He only has 4 clean sheets in 18 appearances, but honestly, this might be the only centre-back that I'm going to talk about on this pod where the clean sheet feels like a bonus point here. I'll just talk about his recent form. So in his last games, he's had 14 clearances, then 11 clearances, then drops to a worrying 8, and then 7, and then goes back up to 16, and finally 20 clearances. It's honestly crazy just to think about how one defensive action can add up more points than the clean sheet. Oh, and one more thing, he's also scored 3 goals in his last 3 games. His average points total is 7.2, and that's including a really slow start to the season. And he's only selected by 0.4% of players, but I believe before tonight, when people were beginning picking their players, he's really going to rise up. Oh, and one more thing, just before I move over to Matt, they also played twice this game week.
Yeah, this is very much a spoiler. He's in my team already. Yeah, absolutely love that he's getting a shout on the pod, because yeah, he is an absolute goal threat, and that is kind of what we're looking for here. The guy's, like you said, 3 goals in his last 3 games, 5 in all competitions this season, 4 in all competitions last season, 8 in all competitions the season before. He's, as defenders go, he's got a very, very good goal record, and yeah, I don't really have much more to add on that. The fixtures, you can look at the fixtures and think the fixtures are tough, but listen, we're not after clean sheets here, we're after goals and clearances, like Ian said. So, and if anything, the toughness of the fixtures help the clearances. Bromley have been really good recently. They're certainly looking higher up the table. I think, a couple of months ago, we were a bit worried about them, maybe looking like they were going to get sucked into a relegation battle, but they've turned it around brilliantly. And yeah, I'm excited for them over these next 2 games, because these are really good challenges for them to see where they're really at, and certainly for Shawumni to hopefully grab a goal or 2 in the next 2 games.
Yeah, and like you said, they're against 2 teams in Gillingham and Crewe who have been performing well this season, but lately their results have started to stagnate, so it's a really good time to play these teams. And like you said, we were worried about where their goals were going to come from. It's coming from their centre-back, who is probably the tallest player on the pitch, and it's just going to be ridiculous. So when I was talking about clearances, so I didn't talk about the total. He's had 142 in total, especially when you factor he's only had 25 tackles and 14 blocks. The clearances just really stand out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Like you say, if people aren't aware of him, they should get aware of him, basically, going forward. I'll take us into midfield now, and I'm stepping away from the double game week, and I'm going to talk about returned a few weeks ago, but the returning Dan Crowley for Notts County. Since returning from injury, Crowley has averaged 7.4 points in his 5 games, 3 assists, 15 key passes, a goal, and 2 interceptions. Over the season, it's 2.15 shots per 90, 0.6 on target, 0.25 goals a game. For a midfielder, that's a pretty good return. 2.3 chances created. It's heavily involved in that Notts County build-up, and taken 90 touches and made 66 passes per 90 minutes. They play a Swindon side who only have 1 away win all season, and they only have 1 clean sheet, I believe, away from home as well, and that came early on in August. In fact, if you include the home games, they have no clean sheet since October. Notts County, looking higher up the table now, in that really tight, compact group of teams, they'll be wanting to win games like this so that they can make sure that they're landing in those automatic promotion places. Having Crowley back is key. Having Jatta and McGoldrick there as well. There's someone to put away the chances. Crowley himself has shown that he can put away chances too. I just think Swindon, who maybe have looked a little bit better recently, this is too much of a step up for them to keep out of Notts County side. So yeah, Crowley for me in midfield.
Yep, and up front I've gone for Alessandro Jatta.
Nice.
I know I think we spoke about this off air last week. I was wanting to talk about him. I was waiting, and after I didn't suggest him last week, which I felt like there was definitely a chance to. I was kicking myself because he had a brilliant game week. He scored 12 goals in 18 appearances, with 5 of them coming in the last 4 games, and I feel like that's also linked to your midfielder pick, Crowley, coming back into the team and providing a lot for the strike force. A little bonus, Jatta averages 1 key pass per 90 and is a consistent starter who rarely gets subbed off during the game. And as you said, they play at home to Swindon, not brilliant defensively. They have improved, but that's mainly because of an informed striker in Harry Smith. So it's going to make the game really fun to watch. But I think we've both gone along the same line of where this game is going to go.
Yeah, I can only see Notts winning this, and listen, Crowley and Jatta right now, they're 2 best players, and they're going to be key for the promotion bid they had this season. They're going to be a threat most week, and I can honestly see in them being in like many people's teams like week in, week out going forward. So yeah, Crowley and Jatta, they're like very, very good picks for League 2.
And again, as we've probably said before, we don't talk about our picks beforehand. We both come up onto the pod and start talking about them, so we can both find out at the same time. So it's quite funny that we've both had the same thought going in here. So it must be a good pick, surely.
And now moving into our sub 0.1% picks. As always, myself and Ian have a player in our 7-player team that has to be selected by 0.1% of people or less at the time of recording. Ian, do you want to talk me through yours?
Yeah, I'll go for it. It's a new player for me on this pod especially, and that player is James Tilley of Wimbledon. It's a forward who plays wing-back this season, so my thinking behind this again was the average points of 4.7. If he hits his average points in both games, you're looking at around 9 points, and you'd be pretty happy with that if you picked your striker on a single game week and he scored, and that's your return. But it must be said that Tilley's also on good form this season, scoring 3 goals and assisting 5 from that wing-back position. They play away to Newport and Fleetwood, 2 teams at the wrong side of the table and have quite a leaky defence. So yeah, I've managed to get him at 0%, and yeah, no, pretty happy with him.
Yeah, someone I actually did look at myself when I was looking at my sub 0.1 potential picks. As always, I'm put off by the wingback thing, but certainly get your reasoning behind it. And plus, he's on set pieces too, and he's got a great long range strike on him, so threat from all over the pitch. But instead, I'm moving into League 1 for my sub 0.1% pick, and I am taking the in-form Miles Leeburn from Charlton Athletic. 0% selection, 3.7 point average, but it's 4 goals and 3 assists this season, and all bar one of those assists came in his last 3 games. He's made 9 starts. He missed the start of the season through injury, but he's just hit this rich vein of form, and they've won 3 games in a row with him starting. Their last game was postponed, as Ian mentioned earlier, against Crawley on New Year's Day, so I'm thinking that this is going to benefit the pick too. They're going to have a bit of rest, whilst Reading, who themselves are in a bit of good form, have had to come through that grueling 3-game patch. Reading's team's quite young as well. I'm thinking this is going to be a tough run for them. And even though they come through it well with Noel Hunt in charge, I wonder if this is just going to be one game where the travel is a bit too tough for them. Liban himself, 2.97 shots per 90, 0.46 goals, just under 5.5 touches in the opposition box as well a game. And also Reading themselves, no clean sheets in 6, and they've conceded 9 goals in that time. So Liban's going to get chances to score, and he is prolific enough to take them. I really think he could be the missing piece in this Charlton team now that he's back, because they've been missing someone to put those goals away. Like early on, they were winning those games by being stubborn and trying to nick a goal late on, and now it's like they have someone to be the focal point of that Nathan Jones attack. So yeah, I'm happy to side with Liban while he's on this low percentage pick.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, they've definitely changed strategies. They don't seem to be playing as such a rigid back five, and they certainly don't play in 2 up front. It is solely Liban on his own with the team there to create for him. Where he was always in a partnership, whether that be with, to be fair, I can't even remember that many of their strikers because they just haven't been on a goal scoring form. Is it?
Yeah, Godden and Campbell for a bit, I think.
And the player that was from Ipswich.
Yeah, Gassan Mahadme, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so that had me as well. So they just haven't really benefited from playing the 2 up front, where when they've gone for this one striker formation with the team set up for them, you can see he's really thriving. And if he's in the goal scoring form, he's going to play next game.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just one of those where when I saw him, saw the week he's just had. Obviously, he gets swayed by that, but he has history. He's a young lad, but he's regularly scored goals for that Charlton side, and now he's fit and firing. It seems about the right time to get him on people's radars, but just before he gets on everyone's radar, I'm going to take him this week. So that's it for our player picks. So I'll give you a quick rundown through what my team is looking like at the moment. So in goal, I've got Owen Goodman, a back 3 of Omar Beckles, Omar Shwumney, and Luke Leahy, Anis Mehmeti and Dan Crowley in midfield, and Miles Leaburn up top.
And I've got Franco Ravizoli in goal, 2 defenders in Ethan Ampadu and Omar Shwumney, 3 midfielders in Davis Keeler-Dunn, Shay Charles and Cameron Humphreys, and James Tilley up front.
Very good. Then moving into our final part of the show, this is our team selections. As always, myself and Ian placed a £5 bet on our 2 teams to win their first game of the game week, and have been tracking a head-to-head against each other throughout the season. I believe, Ian, you are 3 in a row winning now, and I'm 2 in a row. So we're both back in the profit, but I've still got a bit of catch-up to do to try and overtake you on that front. So as always, this part is also for over 18s only, and please gamble responsibly. But Ian, do you want to talk me through your 2 teams this week?
So these 2 selections aren't really aimed at keeping the run going. I feel like I've gotten to a healthy enough profit where I can take the gamble of going to try and gamble to get points for the fantasy rather than focusing on the bet. So I've gone for Bromley and Wimbledon. Both have double game week, and all 4 of their games are away from home. So the games that are going to count towards a bet are Gillingham away, Bromley, and I feel like they can do it here. They, like you said, Bromley picking up form. They've certainly added goals to their team. They score a lot more than 1 goal a game more of the time now. And Gillingham, quite a stubborn team who I just don't see scoring a lot in a single game. And then, like you say, Wimbledon played Newport away. This game could be anything. But I think Wimbledon are very structured, so I just don't think they're going to get into a goal frenzy. I think they can contain Newport and just pick them off. So my £5 here returns £27.87.
Very good. Yeah, I am joining you on the Wimbledon pick here. Similar reasons to what you've said and we've said throughout the show. I just think they should have too much for Newport and Fleetwood in both games. The extra away points are definitely inviting on that front, as I can see them winning both. So willing to try and grab those away points there. But then on my other pick, I'm actually going for Wycombe Wanderers. Listen, top of League One, double game week. It just feels like one of those where even though the fixture against Huddersfield seems like a tough one, they should have too much for Blackpool. So for the bet, I think Wycombe to beat Blackpool and Wimbledon to beat Newport, returning 17.48 from £5 is a good thing to have going for me. And then the second games against Huddersfield and Fleetwood are like extra chances at points. And listen, like whilst it's a tough run for Wickham, it's been a tough run for Huddersfield as well. So uh, I'd be confident enough that they'd have enough to see off Huddersfield in the second game. And like I say, I'm confident enough in Wimbledon in both.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I actually nearly went for the exact same bet that you did. However, I pulled Wickham out of my team, not because I didn't fancy the games. It's just because I've picked a Wickham goalkeeper and a centre midfielder. I didn't want to double down and go for the team as well, just in case it backfired, because then it would really hurt. So I've just sort of covered myself there.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Like, yeah, when I look at the rest of my team, I'm like, okay, I've got one Wimbledon, one Wickham, and one of each. And then the only other double game week I'm covering is the Bromley one with Omar Shomley. So, yeah, I'm hoping that if they do pull off a win, he'll reap in the points there at least, and it won't be too big an impact on my side. But yeah, I think I said to you earlier, like before the pod, the double game week coming into this one. Wasn't too thrilled about a lot of the teams in general. Like Newport are so all over the place, and the tough games against Wimbledon, and then a Morecambe side who are improving. Gillingham have been very hit and miss this season. Bromley, I love some of the players. You're bold enough to pick the team. I certainly wasn't. And then the Huddersfield Wickham one. The Huddersfield as a team, not too bad, but away from defensive players for them, like their forward picks aren't too exciting. So yeah, I think it was a tough set of fixtures to add on to what was already a pretty interesting week coming off the back of a triple. So no, I'm looking forward to this weekend though. It feels like we're getting back to normality, but then it's FA Cup third round next weekend, so this is only going to last for a week, and then we are back in the realm of no championship, but there are rearranged championships, I believe. So it's going to be all over the place next week to watch out for. So yeah, that'll be trickier too. So we're a while off having a standard game week, but listen, this is why we do the show. It's great.
Exactly. Keeps us going, keeps you entertained. What more could you want?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's all for this week, but thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Matthew.
And take it easy.